This is reactions to actions. So today I'm going to be reacting to Tiffany's Farm, and the video is titled "The Sheriff and Deputy Asked Us to Remove Our Video. Here's Why." Alright, so let me go ahead and give a disclaimer, and I give the disclaimer at the top of the video most of the time, so please use your listening skills, okay? Let's be smart here. Hello. Okay, but anyways, I do not watch the entire video without my commentary, okay? I may rewind, fast forward, and stop. Whatever my heart desires. So if you want to see the entire video without my commentary and shenanigans, head over to Tiffany's Farm and you can watch it in its entirety without my input, okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm starting at the point where I want to react, so let's go.
One neighbor now. We got everybody else straightened out, but the same people that keep bringing their dogs over to the property, keep peeking over the fence. It's like they're really hyper fixated and hyper focused on us to the point that they actually called the sheriff on us. So
listen, how are you obsessed with somebody else who's on their property minding their own business, but you're calling the sheriff on them? Like, why are you just so concerned about something that has nothing to do with you? That is a mental issue that you need to see about. It really is. But let's continue.
I know I did a post about it to explain what happened. Both the sheriff and the deputy actually came out to discuss the YouTube video that we have up.
Wait a minute. So the sheriff decides to do their job now on behalf of the stalkers because they want you to take a video down that these quote unquote, my opinion, alleged stalkers did it on their own. And if the sheriff would have done their job, maybe the person wouldn't have been on, you wouldn't have to record, take matters into your own hand and record them coming on your property doing all of the things because the sheriff didn't care. But they're coming out to your farm on behalf of the person who was starting the issue. If I was the sheriff department, I would say if you would have not minded their business on their property, you wouldn't be on camera. Let's continue. Let me bring it back down. Let's continue.
Dad, you want to talk about it?
Yeah. I was talking to the sheriff. My daughter came and got me from the back. And I was way back in the back, around about over 500 yards from the front. So he talked to me real nice. He was telling me about the complaint that the family...
Not our neighbors, but our neighbor's neighbor. They're on the other side of our neighbors.
And this is what really, I'm just flabbergasted. The neighbors. So you're definitely making it your business to go to your neighbor's house to harass them, and now you're getting the cops involved, the deputies involved, which they did not do their job, because if they did, they would have told you stop being on other people's property and mind your business. They're not harming you, they're not bothering you. And if the deputy sheriff department would have done that, they wouldn't have been on camera probably 9 times out of 10. Why are you so concerned about what Tiffany is doing on her farm and her father? That is what's really blowing me. But let's continue.
And that they was getting phone calls and death threats and harassment. But we had nothing to do with that, because they wouldn't have had the man's number unless he gave it to that video. You can see he gave the number, gave his address, gave it.
Overcompensating, provided information that wasn't needed because he was feeling guilty and privileged. The sheriff didn't do anything about it, and he felt very privileged, and he didn't know that social media would get on that behind. That's the problem. That's what naive privilege would do to you. If you wouldn't have went on somebody else's property, minding their business, you wouldn't have been on camera. But no, because of your privilege and because you know the sheriff department and they didn't do anything to you or say anything to you, you thought you had all the power. You didn't think that Tiffany and her father was going to put you on social media. That's the problem. Let's continue. This is due to your own just ignorance. It's due to your own ignorance while you're on social media and people have your address and your phone number. It's due to your own ignorance. And if the sheriff department was doing their job and had common sense, they would have told you that. When you would have called me out there, I would have said you wouldn't have been on camera if you wasn't down there minding other people's business.
His name.
It's due to your own actions. But no, they're going to come. The sheriff department decides to do their job now because the other person is being harassed because of their actions. Make that make sense, people. Make it make sense.
We didn't have anything to do with it. So,
and all while he's wearing Lamar County Fire Department shirt, the place that he was, I guess, working for, and he was at our fence off duty, they said. So he gave out all his information. So if anything, she should be dealing with her husband. And if anybody's out there like threatening them, I don't know what level of threats it is. It's not us that's doing it. No. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about threatening them because God's going to handle them. And I'm pretty sure they probably consider themselves Christians acting like that. They're going to have to answer to the big man. But how are you, sheriff department, how are you now making it your business to now go down there to Tiffany's farm and her father and talk to them about harassment? Where were you when they were calling you before they put this man of privilege on video because of his actions? Where were you guys? That's the key question there. Because if you would have got involved and said, sir, we're getting complaints that you're on other people's property, that you should be nowhere near, you need to stop going down there. Maybe he would have listened to you guys. And he wouldn't have been on the World Wide Web. But now, since he's on the World Wide Web showing how ignorant he is, you're making it Tiffany's and Tiffany's father's fault? No, I would have looked right at that guy and said, this is your doing. This is because you don't know how to stay off people's property and mind your own business. This is due to your actions and your privilege, quote unquote. But let's continue.
What that has to do with us.
Yeah.
But if anybody's out there threatening, you would think that the police or the sheriff or whoever would pursue those threats. Because we're over here working. As you can see in the majority of our videos, other than us having to explain the level of difficulties and adversities that we're experiencing, we are always working. We're minding our own business.
Listen. But honestly, that's just the common sense that Tiffany and her father has. But I would have said, I don't mean any harm, but when I was calling you guys about this trespassing and disruption on my property, and you guys didn't pay me any attention, but now you're coming to me asking me to take down a video because of the results of someone else's actions that you guys did not do your job with. And now you're going to come try to do your job now because they're complaining. Figure it out. Figure it out. And the thing is, stop minding other people's business that has nothing to do with you. If you use common sense, the world will be in a better place. Stop minding other people's business. They're not harming you. They're not coming on your property. They're not bothering you. They're working on their own land. But because you think you have privilege, you're now on the World Wide Web and you want us to do something about it? Figure it out. Maybe this is a lesson. The lesson is keep yourself off of people's property. Just use common sense. Use common sense and mind your business.
Building and setting a future for ourselves and our family. So this constant interruption, it is a constant interruption. And people aren't pacing. Like, I don't really understand.
But let me say this. Excuse me, y'all. Let me say this about this. Now, when he got caught on camera, he gave his personal information.
All we did was ask, what are you doing over there?
Okay, and then when we went to court, he said that the lawnmower had broke down. In Miami, we call it a tractor, but here they call it a lawnmower. And guess what? A couple of days after that, him and his wife and another young lady was on the video, and he admitted that he ran into the post with the tractor. And you could see it on the second video, not the initial video where my daughter caught him doing the damage. Both of us caught him doing the damage. But on that second video, he admitted that, So to cover our behind, we have to keep our videos up to date,
Absolutely. And I will keep recording because clearly the sheriff department is clearly on this guy's side. Because they should have never came to you guys the same way they didn't come to you guys' rescue when you were complaining about him coming on your property. This is the double standard, people. This is the double standard that is in this world today. You're coming down there addressing hardworking people that are working hard on their property. You're mad because they have land that they've paid for. They're not getting anyone to work their land. They're working it themselves, and you're mad. You're mad because they're working their land that they purchased with their hard-earned money, and you feel like they shouldn't have that land, which is why you're making it your business to harass them. That's just the bottom line. Because let me tell you one thing. I do not care about anything that does not have to do with me. They're not harming anyone else. So why should I be concerned about what someone else is doing with their property and with their money? The fact of the matter is they're jealous. They're jealous because they feel like you shouldn't have what you have. And my question is, Sheriff Department, why are you down there harassing Tiffany's farm? Or going down there asking them to take the video down? They need to record because it's his word against theirs. Clearly, you guys don't want to do your job until the other party is on the World Wide Web getting exposed. Then that's when you want to do your job.
In case something else come along down the road, we don't have no choice. You know what I'm saying? And like I told the sheriff, he was talking to me.
It wasn't like an unpleasant conversation.
Don't
get us wrong. I don't feel like, did you feel like?
I'm glad that Tiffany is saying that it wasn't an unpleasant conversation. But with my thinking cap, they should have never come to you. Because where were the sheriff department when you were reaching out for help and no one helped you? They should have took the same audacity and went to the guy's house and that's bothering you guys and confronted him. The problem is not them coming to talk to you. Well, actually, let me rephrase it. The problem is not how they're saying it, but the fact that they're coming to address you at all for something that you have nothing to do with, because you're covering your bases because the sheriff department decided to ignore you. What they wasn't betting on, you recording, covering your behind. That's what they were not betting on. Because if you guys did not record, they would have kept ignoring you, which they didn't come to you guys and say, we've, talked to the guy to stop coming on your property, him and his family. They didn't come to you that way. They're coming to you because they're concerned about the trespasser. They're concerned about the trespasser. Let's continue.
It was an act of
No,
intimidation.
he had a job to do, and he wanted to know what was going on, and we told him what was going on.
Yeah.
And I told him that if you two do not tell us to take the video down, we're not going to take it down, Because, see, most people be thinking that we the aggressor. No, man, we got...
Keep recording, baby. That's the only way, so the world can see what's really going on. Keep recording. I love Tiffany and her father. Absolutely. If YouTube is not telling us to take the video down, we're not taking it down. Why do you feel like you have the privilege to address Tiffany's farm, but you never addressed the guy when they were calling on you to do your job? You're not just supposed to protect a certain ethnicity group. You're supposed to protect everyone. And if someone's going on someone's property that's a neighbor of my neighbor of my neighbor, I got to get to the bottom of it. Why are you going down there? That place has nothing to do with you. I don't even understand how you're down here when you're not even the neighbor. Let's continue. But you're addressing the hard-working people who's being harassed against. It never makes sense to me. And that is what hate does. Hate and jealousy is so strong that it doesn't even allow you to think with a level head because of the hate. The hate takes over.
Got too much property to take care of, you know what I'm saying? We got acres of land to take care of.
Yep.
And we ain't got time for the BS, And we ain't got time for the small talk, the long talk, jive talk, you know what I'm saying?
Lord, please protect Tiffany and her father. Jesus, cover them in the name of Jesus. Put a shield around them, protect them. I agree 1000%. We don't have time for the shenanigans. We're trying to get our farm up and running. We don't have time to worry about what anyone else is doing that has no concern with what we're doing here on this farm. And if everyone took that approach, the world would be in a better place. Just that simple.
High and by, we come out here to work. And the sun is out here hot. You say, I'm sweating now. Just sitting down.
You see how miserable I look.
And we ain't got time for the unnecessary. But the sheriff and the deputy. Mm-hmm. They did their job, you know what I'm saying? But like I told them at the end. They
did their job when it came to you guys. When it came from the complaint on you guys, they did their job. But I want to see when they did their job to the other guy. They didn't, because if they would have, he wouldn't have been on the property on video. And even if they would have approached him and he still would have went down there and you guys recorded him, I would have said, sir, it has nothing to do with us. We told you not to go down there, but you did. So your actions have you on the web, on the World Wide Web. Your actions.
We are not going to take the video down unless you two tell us to take it down. Plain and simple, Because we are the victim, in other words. We're not the aggressor. We are the victim.
And we have to reiterate that we've been dealing with this for a mighty long time. That constant scratching, that constant picking, that constant surveillance, and before Dad interrupted me, this is what I wanted to say, because it's very different in other communities where, the economic environment is like a little bit more stable, like middle class, the upper middle class. They have a lot more to lose, so they're more refined in their behavior. But because we're here in what I think is
Tiffany said a strong point. Bingo. That's why they're really mad. which I said this, but they're mad because they're trying to figure out how Tiffany and her father got that land, making it look beautiful, and look at how they living. They feel you shouldn't have anything more than us. How in the world you have more than us? So we're going to harass you till you give it up or you leave. Jealousy and hate. Just like I said, jealousy and hate. Get that hate up out of your heart.
Kind of like economically challenged environment, you have this constant like people that I think Dad and I are very active, and there's other households that are active too, that actively keeping their property together, developing, and not letting things become run down. But then there's this other segment. You think it's about 40%?
About 40%.
Yeah, we would say it's about 40% within this small road area.
Yeah, don't get us wrong. I met some very, very nice people.
It's some nice people, but the 40% is loud.
I mean,
and the pacing with them. What I don't understand is how these men are married. Like, they are married. And they do a lot of stalking behavior. And their wives have to be aware of the stalking. Because
the wives can't tell them what to do. That's the problem. They run over the wives like a doormat. That's why they're able to stalk other people freely. Because of these wives lay down like a doormat.
They stalk too.
But you know, when I
they participate in the stalking, it's like really weird because they act. I don't know. I don't want to put a label on it because, like, okay, we're black people and they've never seen black people working before.
It's an obsession. That's what it is. And how you may. I mean, and I hate the stereotype about black people not working hard. No, if you look back in history, and it wasn't that long ago, last time I checked, slavery, they weren't getting paid. They weren't getting paid in slavery. Not only were they not getting paid, they were treated like property. As a thing, not as a human being. It just blows me. It blows me because the gaslighting, the manipulation that's done. If you look in history, not that far back, black people have always worked hard. The colonizers went over to Africa, tricked them into thinking that they were coming to a better place, to shackle them, treat them like property. And you think that black people don't work hard because they finally stood up and came together to get some type of civil rights as a human being, and getting gaslight as if they're not working hard because they're fighting for rights? They're fighting for rights for human beings. Take that somewhere else. Take that somewhere else, okay? Because the nonsense doesn't work over here. To tell me that black people are lazy, you better get back in your history. What's lazy to me is to steal land that was not yours, but you try to rewrite history to say it was yours. You're on stolen land. Instead of you building your quote-unquote dream yourself, you capture another ethnicity group to build it for you. That sounds a little bit lazy to me. But let's continue.
I don't know if it's that. I just think that people are just nosy.
You know,
like beyond normal. I've been in other communities. I've lived in an all-black neighborhood. I've lived in mixed neighborhood. I've lived in a whole different type of like environment, but this is the most egregious stalking that I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't know why people are so fascinated with us.
Okay,
It's like really weird.
remember when I first, I came up here, 2 years ago, and when I first came up here, they thought my daughter had hired an old, ragged behind man that could barely get around, and they thought that I was a helper. They didn't know that Tiffany was my daughter, and I was a father.
Don't we look alike?
Yeah.
We look alike.
Ignorance. Ignorance. Just complete ignorance. That's why you clearly don't judge a book by its cover, and you don't mind business that doesn't pay you. Mind the business that does pay you. I'm confused. I'm so confused. But I'm not confused. It's the hate. It's the jealousy that has consumed logical thinking in their head, which is why they're so obsessed. They're so obsessed because they're jealous and they have so much hate that they can't even think straight. Because honestly, if you are a level-headed thinking person and you're thinking logically, why do I care what these people are doing out here? Why am I consuming myself with what they're doing, and it's not bothering me and it's not hurting anyone else?
Like that.
And I was checking them out. Every time you turn around, some guy come up and approach her, try to talk to her, go way out the way to stop her from working to talk. But once they found out that I was her father, all that stopped.
It still goes on with, it's like the old people stopped. The ones that were doing it earlier, they stopped that crazy stuff, like the direct movers. But there's now other people that are doing it. It's like so bad. I don't want to see you with your shirt off coming over here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to see that mess. I have.
Tiffany said, I don't want to see you with your shirt off coming over here. I cannot. I am gagging. Listen, I would not even partake in the foolishness. You come over here and you see me working. As a matter of fact, put no trespassing signs. Don't come this way. You see we're working. We've already established this is our property. This is our land. This is my dad. And if you can't get it through your thick skull at this point, there's nothing for us to talk about. And if you come on this property, you're definitely going to end up on the World Wide Web. And see how you like those cookies. And don't come over here telling me to take anything down, because if you weren't on this property, if you weren't minding my business, no one would know you. No one would know who you are. But because you're so hateful and you're so jealous, and you live in this little box not knowing what the World Wide Web is, and you are exposing yourself to the world, but you'll learn today. You will learn today, and so will the whole wide world. The whole world will know how you can't seem to mind your business.
Little girls that be on the property sometimes, and other little children. I don't want to see that mess.
But you see, the main problem is, we have contractors come on the property. Mm-hmm. And then we have the young generation come on the property. Now, the constantly dogs that they don't leash up, we don't know whether or not they'll bite or they won't bite, but we don't want them to come on the property, So it's an opening back there. We definitely had to close back there. We're going to close that. But still, they know that we out here working, and they still should have the dog on a leash.
And their cows should be locked up too. Mm-hmm. You don't have your cows roaming all over the place. Y'all saw that video with the cows. So not only are we dealing with domestic animals, but like I said, Dad, he breathes back over it. But these men are like, they're real, like, very aggressive. Like, very aggressive. And like I said, I've been in a lot of different environments, and I really think it's social economic. Like, because most of the men that I've always encountered, they're working, they're building, they're doing things for their family. They don't have time to be messing with some little, woman. that's trying to
Well,
like
they-
do something for herself.
Well, they act like they ain't married. You know what I'm
They
saying?
act like they're not married. They
This
really
is the main thing. You know.
It's real bad.
Oh, Sue better be watching out because they probably got eyes on Tiffany. Oh, Sue over there better be watching out. Check your husband. Why? And see, that's the difference with me. That's the difference. Because why? I'm about to start side-eyeing you. You going over there minding other people's business. You're a little bit too nosy. You need to stay from up around there. Listen, I just think different. I will check them in a minute. Why are you going over there? You don't need to go over there anymore. Period.
Yeah, like stay out my face. What are you doing over here?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. And then it's, you know, a lot of people want to put a thing on it like it's just maybe like the white males, but we've also had some. I would just be honest. Can I say it?
Go ahead.
Well, it's some local black men that have odd behavior too, that we haven't like encountered. You know, it reminds me of kind of like Sinners. You know how the part where the Irish man had like the black people dancing to his beat in the vampire movie.
Listen,
you know
put them
like,
all on camera. Show how all of them are ignorant. Put them all on camera. You come over here. You come on Tiffany's farm, baby. You're on the World Wide Web. You better stay where you are. Because over here, we record everything. Like, you clearly don't have anything to do if you weren't about what she's doing on her property. Where do you have the time to do what you need to do? Worrying about somebody else. Straight ignorant.
Like sometimes you encounter them and they're like, oh, they let you get this? How they let you get this property? How they let you get this land?
All the time.
Like, what do you?
They didn't let them do anything. Clearly, they don't want them there. It wasn't up to them. Money talks and bullcrap walks. If you have the money. Because if they didn't sell you the land and you have money, that's another line of discrimination. That goes back to Jim Crow. But you know what really bothers me? How can you clearly know that there's not equality across the board for everybody, but you'll have people gaslighting you and manipulating you as if you're not intelligent enough to know that there's no equality. That's the gag.
What do you mean? That's like, to me, I don't get that.
Well,
if you have money to buy it and you have a realtor, then you can get it. Like, I don't understand that concept of how they let you do something. What do you mean by that?
Well,
Like, that's like really weird to hear a black man, because I've only dealt with black men that are like of a certain level. So when I hear a black man talk like that, it's really uncomfortable and weird for me. So I don't know what that is.
But they don't never say that to me, you know. They don't never say that to me. But the thing,
No, they're not gonna say that to Pops because they want to act like they on Pops level. Of course, they're not gonna tell Pops that. They want to act like they on Pops level and nowhere near his level. They don't want to get embarrassed. They don't want to embarrass themselves. So they think they could go to Tiffany like that. I mean, but why are you coming to Tiffany like that? Like, you think she's gonna say, "Oh, I need to sell this property then"? Like, what? Like, sir, you need to educate yourself. This ain't the 1600s. Hello?
thing is that
But Dad, you encountered some stuff that make you feel like,
no, the
what's
thing,
going on with the local black men? Come on, be honest.
They skip me, and especially when I be in the back, they talk to you because you be in the front, you know. And
They wait,
and the
they
ones
pass by his dad's
and the
house,
ones
they gonna say
that talk to me on a negative level, they just natural weird, you know. They got a weird personality.
You think that
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not because they got their foot on their neck around here?
You know, the ones that talk to you, you know, But the
Listen, I don't know what area you guys are in, but you better tell them you need to expose yourself. Let me give you some people that you can expose yourself to that can maybe help you out. You better get in line with the Wilkins guys down there in North Carolina. Follow their channel and they'll show you about how real men are doing it. How real men are buying land, building things. You think Tiffany Dad is one of them? I got a few more for you. The Wilkins in North Carolina. Like this, it's like, are you guys living under a rock? What is happening? Y'all have to be exposed to a lot more things. Educate yourself, because when you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going, and anybody can tell you anything. But when you educate yourself on where you come from, can't nobody tell you anything, because I don't care what's coming out your mouth. I know the facts. Hello?
They talk to me that a very weird personality.
You think that's what it is?
No, not the ones that talk to you. I'm talking the ones that talk to me.
They're just weird.
This is just naturally
I
weird.
think they oppressed. I think
You know
it's
what I'm saying?
generational oppression.
Now the ones
They're stuck in a time capsule, and it's in the 1600s probably. Their mind is stuck in a time capsule. That's what it is.
that talk to me don't hardly talk to you. They'll talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm saying, and so it's two different worlds, you know. But I have met some the older people that they settle, they got their act together. Then have been traveling around the world, and I stop sometimes.
Bingo, that's what I just said. These people traveling around the world, they've had exposure to different cultures and learn and educate themselves.
I don't be conscious of it. We talk for 15, 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you talk to everybody for 15.
No. I pick and choose, you know, and we have a good conversation. But the ones
I
that
love everybody. I don't know. I won't say my discernment is more powerful than his, but I nitpick a little bit. I can see where there's a problem, especially in behavior, especially if I look and listen, because I don't forget when you say certain things. And you just say it, because to me, a lot of people tell you how they really feel. And if you catch them, you can kind of like develop a pattern of how they're speaking to determine what type of personality they have. Some people are very anti-black, and I'm just gonna be real about it. And it comes across in their conversations. So it's like, how they let you get this? You got who let me get what?
them the ones that
Listen, I would have ended the conversation with them then. Well, you know what? Let me go ahead, and I got plenty of work to do on my farm. I have plenty of work to do on my farm. You have a nice day now. Bye-bye. Because clearly, they're in the sunken place, okay? They're in the sunken place. Hello?
don't never talk to me. You know, them the ones that never talk to me. You know, if they see me out front, they would not wave. They would not say nothing to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when you out front, guess what? They engage in conversation with you.
With that weird kind of conversation.
Yeah. So, you know, but we're not going to let anybody stop our progress. I think when they called the sheriff on us and thought they was going to hem us up to make us, you know.
It was a real casual conversation.
And
there was a lot of laughing
the conversation,
going on.
the conversation lasted around about an hour and a half, close, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they were on the other side of the gate, and we were on our, property, and we were just telling them this is what we've been encountering. I mean, for them to call the police on us, and or the sheriff on us, and they were just over at that, I don't know what it is about that little 50, is it about 50 feet? It's a little 50 feet section that they are just egregiously disrespectful about. You know what I'm saying? They're always over there. Mm-hmm. If they're not looking over, they're guiding their dogs over there, constantly guiding the dogs to come in over there.
Look at there. Let's rewind.
They're always over.
Now, what business do they have being over there? Look right here. What business do they have being over there? That's, to me, in my opinion, that's a little obsession. Do you have an obsession with Tiffany and her father and her farm? Get it together. It is, time has changed, whether you want to realize it or not.
Over there. If they're not looking over, they're guiding their dogs over there, constantly guiding the dogs to come in over there. It's just been going on for almost like 2 years.
And they can't not say that.
And see, this is my problem with the sheriff department. The same way Tiffany is putting these videos on YouTube, I'm pretty sure she's openly willing to show the sheriff this information. And I would go over there, do my job, and address them about this. Tiffany and her father has video recordings of you and your dogs over there on her property. What's the issue? Stop going over there. But no, they want to come to Tiffany and ask Tiffany and talk to Tiffany about taking a video down. If you weren't over there, you wouldn't be on video. Common sense. Just like my mom always says, common sense isn't so common, especially when you got the hate in your heart and jealousy.
They are walking off our fence line. See, our fence line set a little
2 feet.
A little better than 2 feet off the property line. So when they come closer on the outside of the fence, they come close to the fence, they're actually walking on our property. You know what I'm saying?
They're crossing our neighbor's property to walk along our property.
Yeah.
Which is
Sometimes
insane.
it's touching the fence, you know what I'm saying? It is like, why you keep poking? You just keep poking.
And I will politely tell the sheriff, please, I'm being as polite as possible, but please don't come over here addressing me about anything about taking videos down or being concerned about what other people has going on. And if they never would have came over here, they would never be online. So respectfully, I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. So you might want to address the person who's causing the issue, not me.
And you keep poking, but then have the nerve to come after we're recording everything, because we're going to continue to record. If that's how they want to.
As you should. As you should. Because clearly, that's the recordings are the only thing that's protecting you. Only thing protecting you.
Hey, let's let the whole world let you see, let the whole world see how you behave. So then you're going to call the sheriff and then think that.
They didn't have the nerve to drive by real slow.
Oh, this is what she did, which is crazy. Drove by real slow to see if we was here, and then called the sheriff. And then she told the sheriff she wanted to come and talk to us, right? The lady that's been putting a dog along the fence. And we're like,
talk to them about what do we need to have a conversation about? There's nothing to discuss. Keep your animals and yourself off this property, my property. Simple as that. There's no discussion that needs to be had. Like she doesn't need to get permission from you to do anything on her property that she purchased, that she's building up with her hard work.
husband been bothering us. You keep bothering us. We don't want anything to do with you. Just leave us alone. We made that.
And this is why it's a mental issue at this point. It's a mental issue. Because there's no way that I'm going to bother somebody I don't care about. I'm gonna be far away from them. I'm not going to make it my business to harass somebody that I don't like and they're not doing anything to me. My opinion is seriously a mental issue.
So clear.
We don't have time for.
We don't have time.
High and buy because we be busy.
And then it's not just that we be busy. We're unequally yoked.
Oh, okay.
We are.
Oh my God. Tiffany is giving them him the business so suddenly. So subtle. She is giving them the business so subtle. She said, we ain't even in the same class. We ain't even in the same book, let alone the same page. We are not the same. Today's price is not yesterday's price. Let's go, Tiffany. Let's go. Listen, Dad was like, oh, Lord. He said, oh, Lord. I have to run it back. I got to run it back.
We don't want anything to do with you. Just leave us alone. We made that so clear.
We don't have time for.
We don't have time.
Hire and buy because we be busy.
And then it's not just that we be.
Listen, Dad tried to make it, politically correct. Dad did try to make it politically correct. Watch what Tiffany do. Watch what Tiffany does. Watch what she does.
We're unequally yoked.
Oh, okay.
I am done. I'm using that. I'm taking it. Listen, if I don't like a person, we're just not equally yoked. We're just not. We're not equally yoked. Today's price is not the same as yesterday's price, okay? We are in two different books. Hello?
We are not the same. We're not the same. You don't move like how we move. You don't have the same moral foundation that we have, the same interest. There is never a reason for us to ever interact.
Right.
Like, never. You know what I'm saying? Certain roads we just do not cross. Dad is a little nicer than me in that area.
Clearly, Dad trying to let him down soft. Dad is trying to let him down soft. But when you get to this point, you gotta tell what did Ian Van Zandt say? Call a thing, okay? You have to call a thing, a thing. We have nothing in common. We don't travel in the same circle. We don't think the same. We don't have the same morals. So what is there to talk about? Baby girl, there's nothing to talk about.
Once I made up my mind and put you in a box and say that you are a harmful entity, that you will do damage to myself and my family, I never let you out that box. You cannot ever move.
And baby girl, I don't blame you, okay? Always keep your head on a swivel, okay?
In my direction to try to be my friend, because in my mind, if I allow you, you'll cut my throat. Mm-hmm. And I really, because you've shown, you without even knowing us, you drew first blood. Mm-hmm. When we first got out here.
What did Maya Angelou say? When someone shows you who they are, believe them. That if that ain't the truest statement I've ever heard or truest quote I've ever heard, that will save a lot of people from a lot of hurt and a lot of pain. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Amen.
When I first got out here, you was acting the fool. And now things are not going the way you thought it was going to go. And now you want to try to be cool and try to be friends. It's never going to be possible.
But
we're just not the turn the other cheek type of people. I mean, they groom other people to be like.
Listen, miss me with it. Miss me with it, okay? Miss me with it. The only thing I can do for you is pray. But you definitely stay over there because I'm going to stay over here. Okay?
That, but I'm not like that.
When you first got the property, it was constantly saying this was a flood zone.
Yeah.
A flood zone. Then they was talking about the barrels being out here,
And
everything negative, you know what I'm saying?
Negative.
Everything negative. And one guy came out here and he said that he didn't know we had put the fence around the perimeter, except for that little area over there. And he's gonna say it's gonna cost too much.
It's gonna cost you too much to fence in your property.
And then we already had the timber done, open up the space. And he's gonna say the same thing too, And it was always
if they not coming in
trying to discourage them. You know what I'm saying? trying to manipulate, trying to gaslight, however you want to put it.
Some of the bad contractors spitting in front of you, spitting near your feet. They always telling you what you can't do. Like, you gotta ask them for permission.
Well, we decide now if we have a contract out here, and they want to act negative with my daughter, or negative with me, we'll tell them to leave.
Absolutely.
Immediate.
And I don't blame him. Since you want to be rude, you won't get my money, you won't get my services, and you can leave. Your services is no longer needed. Goodbye. Hello? Hello? And this is what a lot of people need to start doing. There is no hard feelings. I just don't trust you. I just don't deal with you. And you're not going to disrespect me in my face and then think that I'm going to give you my money and give you my services. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey. Goodbye. Hello?
And then we also have decided, because some of them do this kind of mess, when the contractors pull up or people pull up to handle business with us, we talk to only one person on the phone. Why are you bringing like 5 or 6 people? And then when they get inside of the gate and they show they behind and they make us feel uncomfortable, the spitting on the ground, spitting near our feet, telling us just outrageous kind of conversations that make us.
I would record them. Record them. If you're going to do business with me, you're going to be recorded on this here property. Now, if you don't want the business, you might as well go ahead and not even come, because you're going to be recorded for my safety, for my quality assurance, okay? Because nobody has my back. So in order for me to feel comfortable around here, because clearly there's a sunken place around there. There's a sunken place around there. From my analogy, from what Tiffany and her father is telling.
Feel uncomfortable. So when we're getting a quote or we're dealing with people, they have to stay outside the fence until we can properly vet them to come in. Because it's not going to be any more of that. Because
I love that idea.
Get things done.
I love that idea. Keep them outside of the fence until we have decided we want to work with you, and I will clearly let them know we will be recording. This is it. When you step foot on this property, we're recording. Everything is under surveillance, okay?
And try to keep it positive, but there's people out there that feel like we're not supposed to have this. To me, there's not a lot of land, in my opinion, but they feel like we're not supposed to have it, which is kind of weird.
Baby, I don't care if you had 1 acre. I don't care if you had 1 acre. They think you don't deserve anything. They think you should be property. Do you hear me? They think you should be property. That's how much they think. Which is why the hate and jealousy is consuming them so much. The hate and jealousy is eating them from the inside out. When you have to lose all your logical thinking to become obsessed with someone that has nothing to do with you, that's the only logical explanation that I can provide.
Well, we could go on and on and on and on and on, and look at you can check the videos to see.
Yeah.
But we don't really have time for negativity, you know.
Right. So we're getting ready to get back to work. We did get our rolls of fencing, and we'll be installing that shortly. So we just kind of wanted to update you about the situation with the sheriff and the deputy. We felt that it was more important to talk about it in a video than to do just one post on our community page. So that's all we really wanted to do, and we really thank you for all the support. You guys continue to really cheer for us and root for us, and it makes us want to continue to go, knowing that we have people that care, that really care about what we're going through and actually want to see us succeed. It's
absolutely.
And you guys are giving us so much of your energy, and
you guys
we've
deserve
done a
it.
lot because of it. So we really appreciate that.
And again.
And you guys, if you're watching this video and you haven't, subscribed to Tiffany's Farm, please make sure you go over there and do that, because they are really going through trying times, and they need to get all the support that they can from good, level-headed thinking people.
We did not volunteer his information. He volunteered his own information.
Right.
We don't have anything to do with that. You know?
Absolutely
He's
did.
not the victim.
Check the recording. I don't have anything to say. I would literally state there's nothing for us to talk about, because if you look at the recording, you already know what time it is. Okay? Don't come over here, sorry not sorry, trying to make me the problem on my land. We're not going to have that. Okay? Address the person who's the problem. Don't come over here with the foolishness, because you addressing me at this point in time about the actions of someone else, that's my issue. Now you're making me have an issue with you.
You know what I'm saying? He gave the telephone number out. He gave the address out. He gave all the information out, you know? And
and my personal opinion, if you are a sheriff department, I'm pretty sure you have detective skills. You should have some type of discernment about investigation if you're in that field. So before you came to Tiffany's farm, you should have looked at the video. And clearly in the video, you could see the amount of times, the multiple amount of times they've come over there. You would see he volunteered his own information because of privilege. He thought that he was doing something. And clearly your actions have consequences. I mean, we can take that back to, I don't know if that was kindergarten or first grade. Your actions have consequences.
had nothing to do that. He volunteered that. So he got to deal with it, you know? And we won't be behind people threatening people. We're not for that, you know?
Yeah, I'm not,
You know?
I'm not for anybody threatening anybody, but when you break the law, you should be held accountable. And uploading a video that's on my property that you're volunteering your information. You volunteered your own information. That's on you, buddy, because if you would have never been over here, you would have never been on camera. If the sheriff department would have addressed you about going over there, because from my knowledge of watching the video, okay, just using common sense, when I watched the video, before Tiffany and her father uploaded the video, there was several times that they've reached out to several different people in the community to address the problem, and they did not. So for the authority people in that area, you are held accountable as well for not doing your job for everyone.
But he the one gave that information out, you know? And
if they leave us alone, and that would
everybody
be
be
a
all
better
right.
life. Everybody would not worry about them anymore, but they just keep on and keep on. So they want to be seen, they want to be relevant, they want attention to me.
Yeah.
You know, negative attention. For some people, negative attention is better than no attention at all.
Yeah.
And that's just,
which is sad. I don't even think I don't know if they want attention. I just think the hate and jealousy is so powerful in their souls that they cannot think logically, and they're willing to destroy themselves if they know that it would harm Tiffany and her father. That's what I get from it. Y'all let me know how y'all feel.
sick. That's a sick mindset to have, but they feel like trolling gets them some kind of attention. So if that's what they want for themselves, they're not going to stop us because we're still moving forward. If you go back and look at where they were 2 years ago, they're still in the same spot where we have continued to work on ourselves and have improved our.
Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop the reaction here because the video is almost done and this is a lengthy video. So if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you so much. Be blessed, stay covered under the blood of Jesus. And if it's God's willing, I will see you in the next one. Bye.